Hi, hello. Stop leaving. Stay here. So, please. Yeah. So, my presentation will start there. Nice. Okay. So, yeah, hello and welcome. Today I have the challenging task to make something extremely boring, sounds extremely exciting, and interesting for you. But please stay seated. I think I can handle it. So you can decide at the end whether you will cry or laughing about it, because I think it's a mix between drama and comedy, what I will tell you. And maybe it's more like a true crime story about Europe. So yeah, it would be very interesting, I think. So first, let's start. Yeah, who I am, that's me. I am Katrin Walter. I'm the Vice President of Growth at Visum Point. So at the name suggested, we are experts of every travel and regulations about Europe. So if you are traveling around Europe or globally, you can ask us, and we will be there. Today's topic is the bureaucracy hurdles within Europe and the challenges they pose the business travel industry. We are accustomed to the traditional border controls and the physical borders between countries. So it looks like this, or maybe like this, or maybe like this. So very traditional. Thankfully, are mostly open within Europe and do not hinder traveler, at least for tourism. However, business travel is a completely different story, and it looks more like this. So within Europe, we face a significant number of bureaucratic challenges affecting business travel. These challenges range from simple business meeting to vacation and long-term assignments. Also, visiting an exhibition like this are affected. So here are the three main obstacles. First, the Social Security Certificate. This document confirms that you remain social insured in your home country or in the country of your employer. During the trip, the Social Security Certificate, also known as a A1 certificate, is mandatory from the very first minute, or I would say for the very first second, you leave your home country. It applies to the specific country and time period of your trip, of your whole trip. For example, business meeting in France, repairing a machine in Switzerland, visiting an exhibition in Denmark, for example, or just being in another country for, just business. Oh, sorry. I was too fast with my fingers. The application process is simple and can be done online through a social security institution. There's an online tool where the certificates can be requested, but only in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. So as you can see, we have no standard processes in the whole Europe. Other countries, other processes. Some countries have processes that requires applications through their employer directly or even special authorities. So it's sometimes very similar to a visa process, because you have to go by your own to the authority and just tell them, I want to travel next week to France, so please give me a social security certificate. For those hearing about the Social Security Certificate for the very first time, don't worry. The official European regulations exist since 2004, but there was already a Social Security regulation in the European Economic Community during back dating back to 1971. So it exists a really long time, and I think now everyone has to know about this, but it's a really big European topic because the process isn't standardized. So if this wasn't bureaucratic enough, let's move to number 2. Number 2, the EU notifications or EU posted worker notifications or EU registrations, different names, but same. EU notifications are required in addition to the Social Security certificate. This is the thing I told you before. But you will only need one in special types of work on site in the destination country. Okay, good news. Good news to hear that it's not always absolutely necessary. According to the EU regulation, a trip must be reported only if it's, listen, if it's considered as productive and value-creating. Productive and value-creating. The tricky part, each country defines this by their own. So you have to find out by yourself what kind of business is productive and value-creating in this country. So we have 28 EU countries plus Switzerland, Norway, Liechtenstein, and Iceland, because they are also in the game. And so at the end, we have 32 different definitions of productive and value-creating. Through years of experience, believe me, years of experience, we have learned that EU notifications are mainly required when performing an active task on site. So what's active? Yeah, let me explain. So repairing a machine is an active part. Visiting an exhibition, you don't need a EU notification. But giving a presentation on an exhibition, it's an active part, and so you need a EU notification. So being a speaker needs a EU notification. You will also need one when you sign contracts, because signing a contract is productive and value-creating. This is the part where a lot of companies decide yes, you can do some business, but please do not sign anything. If you have to sign a contract, just send it via email or something like this, or maybe post mailing, so you can sign it directly, but not in the country. So the good news, standard business meetings are usually exempt from the EU notification, but this is the end of the good news. More bad news, I'm sorry to tell you, but yeah, there are some more bad news. When it's required, the application process is much more complicated than that of the Social Security certificate. So why? For an EU notification, you need the traveler personal details, the company information of your home company, details of the local company, and depending on the destination country, because we do not have any standardized processes, even the details of the local company's managing director. So what does I mean with details? The details starts from nationality, from personal address, it goes on to passport details, for example, the passport number, the date of birth, something like this. I know we heard something about data transparency. So big data, yeah, a big thing. And this is a big question. It's a flood of data, and who is allowed to collect all of this data? And this is the part where also our target group changed, because this part is not only interesting for travel managers, it's also interesting for the HR people, because the HR people knows everything about the social security number, about the personal details of the traveler, about the information of the company. And to make it more special, that's why I'm here, each country has its own online portal to apply for EU notification. So over 30 online tools with different login processes. Sometimes you have to register your company first, and after the verification, you are allowed to apply for EU notification for the traveler. This is very complicated because if you have a lot of travelers traveling within Europe, you need special logins for each country, for each online portal of the country. So you want some more? I have some more. So in some cases, also a local representative is also required. Someone who can act as a contact person for the authorities in case of an inspection. Normally, it's more complicated than I can tell you today, but I think it's hard enough. So you will need, in a lot of countries, in a lot of visiting, and you need a EU notification, you will also need a contact person who is able to contact the authorities or to be in contact with the authorities on site and to be a contact person for the inspections. So sometimes the person it's not allowed that this contact person is a traveler. Sometimes it's allowed that this contact person can be the traveler, but it's a very hard responsibility for the traveler to be the one who is the contact person for the authorities. So summarizing, if you do business in a productive, value-creating way in another European country, you must apply for an EU notification through that country's online tool. Sounds bureaucratic and complicated. It gets worse. So officially, certain documents must also be carried during the trip, including proof of your EU notification. For example, the employment contract, the proof of salary, the working time proof, and everything of these documents has to be translated into the local language. So I see the first heads like this, but it's like this, yes. So the good news, I have some good news. The good news, in practice, this document usually only needs to be presented during an inspection, so travelers don't have to carry a suitcase full of paperwork. So this is the practice example. So just do it when the inspection is coming, then you have some time to collect every document. The fun fact, the EU notification regulations exist since 1996, but has been revised over the years and has only been strictly implemented since 2014 and 2016. So this is why a lot of companies came to us and asked, please help us, what can we do, how could we organize a good process in this case. So enough, let's move to someone also bureaucratic. That's why I'm here. The third one. The third one is the duration of stay. I included the duration of stay because we are currently seeing a trend toward vacation and leisure travel, especially within Europe. However, in some countries, extending business trips cause economic complications. So, for example, Switzerland, in Switzerland, a tax declaration must be submitted if you stay longer than 30 days. So sometimes you have maybe employees who are interested to work from working abroad, maybe work from Switzerland, and then they work more than 30 days, maybe more than 40 days there. So they have to do a tax declaration. In some countries, staying for 4 weeks can establish a permanent business presence. So now the company has to do some tax declaration. Some countries impose taxes if a business trip exceeds 30, 60, or 90 days. For example, Turkey starts an immigration process because an immigration process is necessary if a stay exceeds 90 days. So think about when your traveler asks for working abroad or working from everywhere. So you have to prove if there are some tax regulations. This is why many companies now classify countries into different risk categories. So taxes is also a risk now. And different risk categories, and adjust their internal vacation policies, so vacation or business pleasure traveling, accordingly. All these challenges depend mainly on the length of stay and, very important, the activity on site. What are you doing on site? This is very important to tell you what you need. Yeah, last but not least, there's a little surprise. I put last one here. Bureaucratic hurdles don't only apply to travelers within Europe. A new system called ETIAS, or ETIAS, is expected to launch this year. It's expected, but yeah, I just say it's expected. To launch this year, it will function as an electronic visa for non-EU nationalities traveling to the EU. So if you are a non-EU nationality and you want to make some business and here in Europe, you have to apply for the ETIAS. At the moment, we are not able to give some more information because they just want to start this year, and we have to wait because the experience says, let's wait until the start, and then we can see what will happen. So these were all the steps required before a business trip. But bureaucratic stuff is also a big topic during a trip. So I think it's enough bureaucratic for now, but let's take a quick look on what must be carried during the trip. So I put some documents with. A social security certificate. So as you remember, this was the first thing I told you. You need it always. It's always necessary when you are doing some business in the EU. Maybe a EU notification, because I told you it's depending on what kind of activity you do on site. For example, if it's productive and value creating. A passport or ID card is necessary, but you also need an employment contract to prove ongoing employment in the home country. You need a work hour record to confirm compliance with labor laws. And maybe you need a qualification certificate, for example, for handling electricity or doing some stuff with chemicals or working with doing structural work. And you also need a travel booking confirmation because this verifies the duration of stay and your return date. This is also very interesting because they want to know, okay, you're going back. So now we know what we need to be arranged before a business trip and what must be carried during the trip, but what happened afterwards? Surprise, more bureaucratic. All documents must be archived, and depending on the country, they can be received for 2, 7, and even up to 10 years after the trip. So the very big question, why does all this exist? We must remember that these processes were introduced to create a fair labor market within the EU. These regulations help to prevent wage and social dumping. So there are a lot of social reasons why we have to do this. Don't forget this. Fortunately, the system is continuously evolving. There are efforts to reduce bureaucracy by implementing more standard processes across Europe. So at this time, there are talk about how we can use maybe one online tool to make all the EU notifications, for example. But this is the thing, they are always talking about this. And maybe we need some technic people who can change this. Also, the business travel industry remains in close contact to the politic and new political structures are evolving across Europe, so focus on border controls and reducing the bureaucracy. So the business travel industry is getting louder and louder and tells the politics, so sorry, but there are a lot of hurdles to do some business travel. And I think, yeah, maybe we can change it, but as I told you, it always exists since 1996. So, in my opinion, the best way to handle bureaucratic hurdles within the EU is to build a business model around them. I think this is the best way. And surprise, we did it. So at the end, it's very simple to handle it. So I know it sounds very hard and difficult and complicated, but there are ways to handle it very smooth, very easy, and very simple. Experts like Visum Point and the VDR are always here to support you. So if you have any question, you can just come to us, to our booth. It's in Hall 10.2, stand 200, and you can ask your questions and we can tell you about the possibilities to make it very, very simple. So in this case, thanks a lot for your attention, and let me know if you need a handkerchief for your tears, whether from laughing or crying, or maybe your head is shaking like this. Thanks a lot.